everyone, welcome to this session. So let's understand what is document object model, which we also call as DOM in the short form, right? So DOM represents the HTML document that allows JavaScript to access and change elements on a web page. So here in my HTML file, I have included some random tags. So in my console here, if I type in document, let's see what happens. Okay, so document and then I'll hit enter. Okay, here if I click on this, if I hover on this, you see it is highlighting the above panel, right? That means this particular object that is available in the browser, right? Document object is available in the browser represents the whole HTML page, right? Whatever the HTML that you're seeing in the web page, it represents the whole page. And if I open these elements, you can see all the elements, right? And if I start moving my cursor here, you can see this is highlighting the header tag and this is highlighting another header tag, and this will highlight the paragraph tag, another paragraph tag, then the list. All right, so basically you can say that this is like a tree structure where each HTML element is a node, and by using JavaScript you can navigate to this tree. And of course, like you would have to use document object in your JavaScript file, but by using that you will be able to traverse this tree, right? You can go to any node, as in access any node, and you can change anything whatever you want. You can modify the existing node, or whatever has been implemented, or you can add additional stuff as well. So basically everything is under this object, document object. So in your JavaScript, if you want to do anything, any interaction with the page, any changes that you want to make, or anything additional new that you want to add, you would have to access the elements that are inside it, and you will do that by using the document object, right? These are the topics that we are going to be covering in the session. Selecting elements in the DOM, I'll show you how you can select these elements in your JavaScript file, right? These are the elements which are there in the DOM, so how you can select any element that you want. So we'll discuss that, and these are the methods by using which we can access different elements. And then we'll also see how we can change content and attributes. Then again we'll see that how we can style the elements, how we can create or remove elements. We'll also see that how we can add event listeners to elements. This is something that we have also seen in the previous sessions, but we can just take another example and go over this again. And then we'll see how we can traverse the DOM by accessing parent and children elements. And after that we'll just see an example of forms and inputs. So let's start with this one first. So let me clear this. So remember this document, okay, document object, because everything that we access, right? So all these methods that we will use, we are going to write document dot and then the method name, right? I think that's what we have been using. So if there was any session where you did not understand that why we were doing document dot and then we were writing any of these methods, now it will clear your concepts. All right, so I'll just clear the panel here, and then I'll move to HTML file. So this is for selecting elements in the DOM. Selecting elements in the DOM. So let's go with the first method. So I'll select I want to get the main title. Okay, so main title. So for this we saw the document object, right? So document dot get element by ID. This is the method name that we are using, and we have to go and check what is the ID of the title. So this is the ID of the title. So I'll just copy this. I'll go back here for the ID. Okay, and then we can log the title and see if we got the value or not. So you can see that we have this element, right? We are not trying to print the value, right? Otherwise we can do dot value as well, but I just want to access this element, right? And by doing this I'm able to access the main title. All right, so now let's just go ahead and try this one. Get element by class name, const, and then I'll access description by class name. Here document dot get element by class name. We have another method, get element by class name, and let's just go and check the class name for the description. So this is the class name, so I'll take this and let's just log this one as well. So log and then description. If I save this, I got the description, right? So here if you see, I have two elements, right, with the same class name. That is why I got both of them. So if I want to do any sort of manipulation, I have to specifically choose one and then do that. Now the next method is accessing the element by tag name. So const and then items will access the list items. All right, so document dot get element by tag name, and here I'll give the tag as list. Let's print this as well. I'll log this and then items will save, and if you see here we have all the list item nodes, right? So first I think there are three here. So here there are three, right? And this is the tag name for the list. So here, see, here we didn't have to mention the ID or the class name, right? Just the tag name, because we are accessing through the tag name. So li, right? And then because it has 3 lines, right? 3 lines of code, right? 3 items it has, right? So it is returning me 3 items here. Now let's check query selector and query selector all. So from the list I'll use the query selector first, const and first item here document dot get query selector, and then here if I pass the list class name, right? So if you see, I have given the same class class name to all the list elements, right? So if I use the same class name, then let's see what it does, right? So here if I do this, it is only going to search for the first item. The moment it gets the first item, it is just going to return that. It will not search after that. Okay, so let me just print this. So it should only return us one log first item. We save this. The class name we access it by using dot. Okay, so it has to be dot item. So we'll save this, and you see it has only given me the first item from the list, right? But if you use query selector all, it gives you back all the items where it matches the class name, right? So if I use this const all items and here document dot query selector all, and I'll do the same dot item. If it is an ID, we don't have to use dot, right? But in with class name, we have to use dot here. So if I save this, and let me just log this as well, all items, and let's save this. So you see it has given all the list items. So this is the difference between query selector and query selector all. Query selector gives only the first match of the HTML element, but query selector all finds all the matches and gives back you the result. Now let's check this one, change content and attributes. How do we do that? I'll remove this. So let's just change the maybe the content of the button. Okay, so const change and then text button, or the text of the button. We'll change the text of the button. That is why I'm giving this name. So document dot get element by document dot get element by ID, and then we'll go to the HTML and we'll use this one. Okay, we'll change the text of this button, this one. So I copied the ID and we'll take this element. Okay, now we have the element, and if I want to change the text, right, I have to mention an event. When do I want to change it? So when someone clicks on this button, I want to change the text of this button, right? So I have to add an event listener now. So I'll take the button reference dot add event listener, and what's the event here? It's click event. Okay, and on click event, I'll write a function, and then inside that button, I'll just change the text of the button itself. Okay, so text content, and I'll change it to, let's say, button click. Let's save this, and if I click on this, you see the text of the button got changed, right? And we can do other things as well. Let's say if I want to change the text content of any other element, I can do that as well, right? So for example, main title, but we would have to access main title first, and then only we'll be able to do that. So for example, here const main title, and here document dot get element by ID, and what's the ID of the main title? This is the ID. Let's take the ID. Okay, so here I'll take the main title and then dot text content, and here updated the main title. Okay, let's save this, and now when I click on the button, two things should happen, right? The text of the button should get changed, and also the title should get updated. So here you see the title got updated, and also the text on the button got updated as well. Okay, so this is how you can change content. All right, and let's say if you want to add any additional attribute to any of the elements, right? So for example, the main title. So if I go to this HTML element, you see how many attributes are here. There is only one attribute, right, which is ID. I can have another attribute here as well, right? But what if I want to do that with the help of DOM, right? So I've already accessed this element. I'll just use the set attribute method. All right, so here main title, and then I'll just do this, and then set attribute, and then inside this I have to give something like this. Data custom and then custom value. You can give anything, whatever you want, like the attribute name and the attribute value basically. Okay, so data custom, and then let's say custom value, and then let's just save this and then print the document. Now let's do something and then print the document, and then we'll check if the new attribute has been set up or not. So document, do not check directly, right? You have to do some sort of action on the page. So I clicked on the button. So now if I click on this, otherwise the code will not get executed, right, without doing anything. So here if I click on this, and if I go to the main title, now I should be seeing a new attribute over there. So if I click on this, so you see here data custom and then custom value. Let me just expand this a little bit. So data custom value. So like this, if you want to set any new attribute dynamically, this is how you can do it. Now let's check the next topic, which is styling elements. So style elements. So what we'll do is we'll change the color of this toggle highlight button. Okay, so first I need to access this button element from HTML, right? So I'll give const, and then let's just give it a name as toggle highlight button, and then document dot get element by ID, and then let's check the ID of that button. So this is the highlight button. I'll take the ID. This is the ID. Okay, so now we have the button reference. Now when do we want to do that, right? We want to do it on the click of the button. So that means we have to add an event listener. So I'll copy this dot add event listener, and what's the event here? It's click, and then we'll write a function. So what do we want to do on the click of the button? We want to change the color, right? So here I'll take the button reference itself, and then dot style dot color, and I'll make it as red. Let's save this, and let me go ahead ahead and click the button. Okay, so see the color got updated to red. Okay, and similarly if I want to change something else, right, for example the title, but we have to take the HTML reference again. So I'll copy the ID here and let's just quickly take this title document.getElement by ID, and this is the element. Let's just take the title, the main title. Okay, and we can change the color of this as well, right? So this dot style dot color, and then let's make it green. If I save this, if I click on this button, this got turned into red and this got turned into green, right? And let's say if you want to add a class property, right, to any element, you can do that as well. So for example, if so this is the title, right? Here we have ID. Let's say I want to add a class here dynamically, right? And then maybe I want to use that class to do some styling changes. I can do that as well. So there is something called class list. So using that, we can add a class here, right? So let's just go ahead and see that. So we already have accessed the title here. So title dot class list dot, we have to say toggle, and here you need to give a name. Okay, so I'll give a name as highlight, and let's just comment out this one. I'll save this, and now here if I type in document, so if I have a look at the title now, we need to click on the button, right? Because we are doing everything on the click of the button. So let's just click on the button, and then I think we would have to just do this again. So I clicked on the button, and now we'll print the document again. Here in the body, you see the class highlight got added here, correct? Now let's check how to create and remove elements. Create and remove elements. So we have a container here. So I'm going to add dynamically a p tag, like a paragraph tag, to this particular container. Okay, so first I'll access this container. So let's just copy the ID. I'll go here and then const container document.getElement by ID, the ID, and then we need to create a variable for the new item, or like new p tag, whatever we are creating, right? New p tag, and then here document dot create element. We are going to use this method of create element, and what kind of element we want to create? A paragraph tag, right? And the tag for that kind of element is p. And once we have created the element, we also have to set the content for the element, right? That what should be displayed inside the element. So here the new p tag element, whatever we have, dot text content, and here you can add any content. I'm the new p tag. Okay, and then after that you also have to append it to the container. Okay, so cont dot append child, and here what do we have to append? The new p tag. Let's just save this. We don't need the quotations here, so we'll just remove this and then save this. So now this would have gotten added over here. So see, we got the new paragraph tag here, right? And now if I print the document, here also you can see in the container the new paragraph would be added. So where's the container? This is the container. If I open this, you can see the new paragraph tag, right? So this is how you can create an element dynamically. And if you want to remove this element, right, you can simply type in the new element name that you have and then just use the method remove, and then it will get removed. Okay, so if I save this, now I don't see that p tag here, right? And even if I print the document now, I will not see that tag here. So this is a very straightforward method. Now let's check this one, adding event listeners to the elements. And I think this part is already covered with all the examples that we have been doing, right? How to add a event listener. But let me just add another event listener. For example, if I click on this button, I want some sort of alert, right? So I'll go to this button. So change text, right? So I'll take the ID and we'll go here, and let me remove this first. Const button, and then here document.getElement by ID. We'll take the ID, and then on this button, if I want to add event listener, I'll just refer to this button dot add event listener, and what is the event that I want to write a logic for click event, right? When someone clicks on the button. So, and then we'll write a function and we'll just simply show an alert for now. So in a similar way, you can access the elements from the HTML file, and then based on whatever your requirement is, right? Whatever sort of event that your HTML element can have, you can write that event down and then write a logic in your function. All right, so I'll save this and I'm going to click on this button, and you can see the alert here. All right, so let's just remove this now. Now let's check this one, traversing the DOM. So this is just to know, like, if you want to access how will you access the parent element, and how are you going to access, let's say, the child element, right? So I'll just so whatever we have been discussing is nothing but how we traverse through the DOM, right? But for this one specifically, I'll show you how you can access the parent element and how you can access the child elements. So let's see what is the parent element of the main title. Okay, so I'll just log something like this and type in parent of main title. Okay, and then here, so first of all, I need to take the reference, right? So main title and document.getElement by ID was the ID of the main title. I think it's this one. Let me just confirm this once. Yeah, it is this, but let me just copy and paste this just in case. Okay. And then main type. So we'll take this element, okay, this variable that we have where we are receiving the reference, and then dot parent element. Okay. This is something which is already available. So we will just access this and see what is the parent element. So the parent of the main title is the body, right? Because everything is inside the body tag. All right. And similarly, if we want to access the children element, right? So let's log, and then for example, for the list, right? This one. So let's just check the child elements for the list, right? So log children of the item list. And then where do we have all these list items? We have it inside the UL, right? This one. So let's just take this ID and we'll go here, document dot get element by ID, and then we'll give the ID here. And then if I save this, I can anyway see all the child elements, right? So just by accessing the parent element, you'll be able to see the child elements. But for the parent element, to check the parent element, you can use this, right? Dot parent element. Now let's check how do we deal with the forms and inputs, right? So I have this one input here, and then I have a submit button. Okay. So let's just first access the form element. So I'll go to the HTML file, and this is the form element. So we have to get this to the JavaScript file first. So const, and then I'll say my form here. Let's access the element by using the ID. Then we would have to add an event listener here. So my form dot add event listener, and what kind of event will happen here? Submit event, right? And after this, we are going to write function wherein we will get the event. And then here, first of all, because this will try to submit the form, right? But we are not doing any action. So we are just going to first prevent the default submit that happens. Okay. So I'll just do this, and then we'll also receive what user is typing inside the name. Okay. So here I'll take something as const name value, and here I have to take the name input as well, right? So what is the name input? It is this. The ID is name. So let's just copy the ID, and here const name input get element by ID, we'll use the ID, and then dot value, because we need the value, right? Whatever user types in this text box. So this, and then I'll take the name input, and then I'll assign it to this value, and then I'll use an alert wherein I'm going to use this value. Okay. I think I cannot use the value here. I need to have the event first, right? So let's just use this dot value inside. So here dot value. Okay. So this is fine now. Now let's just put an alert here and submitted the form, and then I'll append the name value, right? Whatever is typed in the input box, and then I'll save this. Let's just type something in the input box and then click on submit. So submitted the form, and then it's not showing the value. So I'm not sure why, but I can just simply do this. I'll cut this out and I'll just paste it here directly, and I'll remove this from here, and let's just save this and try it again. If I click on submit now, it is still not working. Let me use the backtick thing, okay, the template literal thing. So here maybe the problem is with the way I'm displaying it. So the form is submitted, and then I'll use the template literal and the name value, and then we'll save it. Now let's run. So here now, if I give the value as Alice, if I click on submit, then yeah, now it shows me the name. So the problem was here. Okay. All right. So I think that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next one.